Hello everyone, and welcome back to exercise number 27 of the SolidWorks Basic Tutorial Series. In this video, we're going to be designing a missile gyro support. Now, as always, in designing this component, we're going to be using the Extrude Boss Base tool and Extrude Cut tool, but also we're going to be using the Mirror tool. Here we see the schematic drawing for exercise number 27. All dimensions here are in inches, so please pay attention. The dimensions here are not in millimeters, but they are in inches, all right? And looking at the figure here, we see that the component can actually be divided into three main levels. We have the bottom level, the middle level, and then we have the top level, right? Consequently, I think we can model this with three main steps. Step one would be, of course, to sketch the circular base profile of the component, and then use the Extrude Boss Base tool to create the thickness. Here we can see that the circular profile should have a radius of 2 inches, so a diameter of 4 inches, and we should extrude this circular profile to a thickness of 0.2 inches, all right? And that will create the base plate for the component. After that, we're going to create these 4 holes. We have here 4 holes that lie on this plate. And these 4 holes basically have a radius of 0.16 inches. And they lie on the 3-inch diameter circle. So from the center of this larger circle, the distance between the center and one of the holes should be 1.5 inches, right? And that would complete step 1, right? We create the hole and we create the base for this, component. Then step 2 involves creating these features here in the middle. And for that, we have to use a new tool. It's not actually a new tool, but a new feature within a tool, which is the offset extrusion property for the Extrude Boss Base tool. And basically, we're going to sketch out half of this profile here, since again we have symmetry along the y-axis. And then we're going to use the mirror tool to mirror this sketch to the other side. And of course, we're going to sketch this profile within the front plane. The front plane is going to lie basically midway. So it's going to intersect right in the middle of the component. And then we're going to use the offset extrusion property to basically extrude this sketch at a distance of 0.8 inches away from the center, right? And then we're going to extrude it to a thickness of 0.2 inches. Step 3 involves working on the features here at the top. So we're going to draw this rectangular profile. And then we're going to create these circles here at the top and this rectangular opening at the top as well. Finally, we're going to create this lug feature. Of course, this is all in sketch mode, but then we're going to use the Extrude Boss Base tool to create the 3D aspect or 3D thickness of this sketch. And it should be 0.2 inches. So again, we're going to implement this with 3 main steps. Step 1 is to create the base of the profile. Step number 2 is to work on the middle features. And step number 3 is to work on the top features of the component, including the openings. All right, so with that aside, let's get started with exercise number 27. Okay, so let's start by creating a new SolidWorks part. We copy exercise number 27 into SolidWorks. And I need to remind you here that we're dealing with the inch system. So all dimensions here are in inches. And by default, in SolidWorks, we're set to millimeters. So to change our unit system, go down here and select the inch, pound, and second system, okay? So after we've selected the inch, pound, second system, basically all circles, lines, or whatever dimension that we put in is immediately going to be in inches. And then looking at the figure here, we see that, like I said previously, we're going to start by creating this circular profile, the base of this circular profile. So let's go ahead and select top plane, sketch. Let's put this to the side here and select circle. And from the origin, draw 1 circle. And looking at the figure here, we see that this base circular profile should have a radius of 2 inches. So select Smart Dimension, and this should have a diameter of 4 inches, right? Now go to Features, Extrude Boss Base, And from the figure, this base profile should have a diameter or a thickness of 0.2 inches. So go ahead and enter a thickness of 0.2. Select OK. Right? Now we're going to work on creating these 4 holes. And notice here that we have 4 holes, and these 4 holes lie on a 3-inch diameter circle. So basically, it's about 1.5 inch away from the center of this base circle. And each circle should have a radius of 0.16 inches. So select this face, sketch, select circle, and from the origin, draw a circle. Select Smart Dimension, and the diameter of the circle should be 3 inches. Let's select the circle and convert it into a construction geometry. Again, select circle, and from this point, right here at the top, draw a smaller circle. Select Smart Dimension, and the diameter of this circle should be 0.16 times 2, which is 0.32. Okay, now we want to repeat this circle, which corresponds to this hole right here, along this circular path. So go ahead up here to the linear sketch pattern, click on the drop-down menu, and then select circular sketch pattern. Here's going to ask you for the entities that you want to pattern. So go ahead and select this circle. By default, the number of copies set to 4, and then select OK. Right? Now go to Features, Extrude Cut, and we want to cut this all the way through to the other side. And here we can see that we have this arrow, drag it down, and then select OK. Step 1 completed. We've created the base of this component. Now we need to work on the features here in the middle. And this is where we're going to learn how to use something called the offset extrusion, which is basically you get to sketch on a 2D plane and then offset the plane, at least the sketch, from a certain distance, right? And then extrude. So basically you're drawing on a 2D plane and then extruding at a certain distance, at a certain offset distance. So let's demonstrate that by selecting the front plane, sketch. And before we actually start drawing here, please notice that there's a symmetry for this 2D sketch here along the y-axis. So it's sufficient that we only draw 1/2 of the sketch, right? So draw 1/2, and then we're going to use the mirror tool to mirror it to the other side, basically as a way to save time. So select Line Tool, and from this midpoint right here, draw the basic sketch of the profile. Okay, so looking at the figure here, we see that the distance between this bottom edge and this top edge here, it should be 2.8 inches. So the distance between this line and this bottom line should be 2.8 inches. And the length of this edge is 2 inches. Half of it should be 1 inch. So the length of this edge is 1 inch. Likewise, the top edge has an overall length of 4 inches. So half of it is 2. So this should be 2. Now go to Mirror Entities. And for entities, we're going to select these 3 lines, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to mirror about this vertical line. Select OK. Now go to Trim Entities, and let's delete this partitioning line in the middle. Now go to Features, Extrude Boss Base, and now we're going to perform the offset extrusion. Basically, what you need to do is here, you see, instead of sketch plane, which is set to default, select Offset. And it's going to ask you, okay, you want to offset this sketch, but at what distance? All right. So basically, you can see here that it's 1.6 divided by 2. So 1.6 divided by 2, right? And we need to extrude this sketch to a thickness of 0.2 inches. So this should be 0.2 inches, right? So now we have extrusion that basically is offset from the main plane, which is the front plane, by 0.8 inches. And then select OK. Okay. Now we're going to need to mirror this extrusion to the other side. So go ahead and select Mirror. And here it's going to ask you for the face or plane that you want to mirror along. So go ahead and select the front plane. And for the features to mirror, you can select any surface. And then select OK. Now we need to create this circular opening. So select this space, sketch, select circle, and starting from the origin here, we can just move along and create a circle along that. Basically, the center of the circle coincides with the origin. So basically, it's symmetrical along the y-axis. Select Smart Dimension, and looking at the figure here, we have a circle with a diameter of 0.65. So this should have a diameter of 0.65 times 2. And this should be at a distance of 2 inches from this edge and 1.3 inches from the bottom, right? So the distance between this bottom edge and this circle is 1.3 inches. By default, the distance between this point and this circle, we'll try it again, this point and this circle is going to be 2 inches, right? Since, again, like I said before, it's basically lying midway between the two sides. Now go to Features, Extrude Cut, and we're going to drag this circular profile all the way to the other side, since the circular opening goes through both surfaces, or both solids, and then select OK. Finally, we're going to work on creating these features here at the top. So what we do, we're going to select this top face, sketch, go to rectangle, and then select corner rectangle. And starting from this corner right here, we move along horizontally, and we basically draw a rectangle all the way to this other corner right here. Select Smart Dimension, and looking at the figure, we see that this top rectangle should have a dimension of 4.7 inches by 2. Now, of course, this edge is already 2 inches, okay? But this edge should have a length of 4.7 inches. Now we're going to work on creating these two circular openings. So select Circle and draw a circle at any point here. The circle should have a radius of 0.13, which is a diameter of 0.26. So select Smart Dimension and enter a diameter of 0.26. Again, draw another circle at the bottom. Should have a similar diameter of 0.26. But again, we need to distance this circle from this edge by about 0.3 inches. So select this circle and this edge, and should have a distance of 0.3. Likewise, we perform the same operation for the bottom circle. One more step we need to do is basically we need to have these two circles lying midway between the origin right here. So to do that, select Line and draw a center line between these 2 points. Select the midpoint of this line and the origin, and make the relation between the two horizontal, right? Now we need to create this rectangular opening in the middle. So starting from the origin, we select Center Rectangle and we draw a rectangle. Select Smart Dimension, and this rectangle should have a dimension of 3 inches by 1 inch. So the length of this edge should be 3 inches, while the length of this edge should be 1 inch. Finally, we need to work on this length feature here at the top. So we're going to go ahead and select or draw this 2D sketch. So select Circle, and starting from the origin here, move horizontally and draw 2 concentric circles, 1 and 2. The circle should have a radius of 0.5 inches, basically a diameter of 1 inch, while the inner circle should have a radius of 0.26 inches. So the diameter of this circle should be 1 inch, while the diameter of this middle circle should be 0.26 times 2. And the distance between this edge and the center of this circle should be 0.52. So the distance between this circle and this edge should be 0.52 inches. Now select Line Tool and go ahead and close off the figure. Select Trim Entities and delete any extra lines, leaving behind the lug feature along with the rectangular profile. Now go to Features, Extrude Boss Base, and we're going to extrude this sketch to a thickness of 0.2 inches. So this is 0.2. and then select OK. Delete this image, set the background to plain white, and yeah, let's assign material. Again, you can select any material, but by default, I'm going to select ASI 1020, apply, close. Okay, so that concludes exercise number 27. If you have any comments, please don't forget to write them down below. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you on exercise number 28. Until we meet again, have a nice one, and bye-bye.